Aloha, aloha, aloha. Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer. Have you ever seen your own chart? Have you got an inkling about what your rising sign is? Oh, you just don't care. 50,000 years of ancient science used astrology. It wouldn't hurt you to take a peek at it. You might learn something about yourself, about the future. That's what I'm here to do. As long as I'm here, you better take advantage. I may not be here in 3, 4, 5 years. Even less. Program 1130. And you know, since the July 13th lunation that set off Pluto, July 13th eclipse, where Pluto started really bugging people, I'm sure that our volcano is bugging some people too. It didn't show up so much in Hawaii real strong as other places, which I've covered. But rather than just start off with the sky mirror on this show, I want to play you the essential piece, one of the best pieces I did on VOG and SO2, so that you may be educated about these hazards and tell your friends that don't see this show. You have to educate your family and your friends about VOG and sulfur dioxide gas, or they're just running in panic. And their tendency to run in panic is very strong since July 13th. So here's a piece back on show, what was it, 1127? By the way, you can get these shows on YouTube. You can tell your friends, just YouTube Astrology with Rollin Frost, and they'll get the shows, and they'll get all the good stuff, the analysis about VOG, and it won't be such a worry. But you're in it now. The new moon, the eclipse, opposed Pluto, and look at the notes. Gee, sharks bite, panicky, bad policing. We hate police and guns and nukes and bugs and tattoos. This goes on until August 11th, when there's another eclipse at 19 degrees of Leo, well, 18 Leo 42. So that one's going to say, get rid of these police. We don't need all these guns and these policemen around. Americans becomes over-policed. Dump the immigration service enforcement. All these enforcement guys with guns running around telling you what to do. Get rid of them. You don't need them. People police themselves. It's the people that catch the criminals, not the police. People catch them, call the police. Police come around, grab them, take the credit. Ha ha ha. Anyway, you're going to want to get rid of them all after that August 11th eclipse. Hard to get rid of institutions. You can get rid of Mr. Pruitt faster by insulting him in restaurants and on airplanes and stuff, and he'll eventually run. But the institution, you know, it's a different matter. Very difficult to change. But that's what we got to do, folks. That's what we have to do. Anyway, here's the show on VOG and sulfur dioxide. And learn about it. Tell your friends. Tell them to go to YouTube, Astrology with Rollin Frost, and they'll get these on several shows. Okay, first of all the shabai, the silliness over sulfur dioxide gas and H2S gas. H2S is flammable. It burns. Anything comes off of that lava, H2S, it burns immediately. There's no H2S out there. SO2, sulfur dioxide, is water soluble, and it's not going to hurt you. No. Here's one of the Bibles. Occupational health is where you learn about the effects of these things. You look up sulfur dioxide in here, and what it says is very clear. It says, and I quote, since it's water soluble, its action is likely to be limited to irritation. endurable concentrations can be tolerated for long periods of time without appreciable danger to health. It's water soluble. Yes. So it's not dangerous. Furthermore, the chances of there being any sulfur dioxide in your environment are almost nil. See, the lava does emit sulfur dioxide, but it immediately reacts with nitrogen and air and water and all of it to make ammonium sulfate, which is a little funny plate crystal, which you call VOG. So all of the sulfur dioxide gas right over the volcano, as soon as it's emitted, reacts with what's in the air, and it makes the VOG. The VOG is harmless. It's little tiny platelets. That's why they look like there's a lot of it, but it reflects light in such a way that we tested it. We did, so Jim Morrow and I, the Lung Association guy with a degree in environmental health like me, we tested it, and we found out it's only 1/10 the particulate level in most American cities. It looks like a lot, but it's not. Furthermore, the VOG is harmless. It dissolves in your body right away. It's fertilizer, ammonium sulfate. Yes. And the trouble is, see, these folks, they measure the sulfur dioxide at the vent. They've been measuring that for a long time because they can tell how much lava is coming out by how much Anyway, it's easily measured. And so you're getting these numbers from people who don't know anything about the health effects and what happens to the gas afterwards. These folks don't even know that VOG, they're calling it sulfate particulates. It's ammonium sulfate, folks. They haven't got VOG straight because the health department lied to you like it was a hazard. Yes, to keep their money going, and now they're stuck in their law. The people that know about this are people from OSHA, OCA, Oil Chemical Atomic Workers Union. The mining, MESA for mining is OSHA, not Department of Health or DLNR or these other agencies. They don't even know what VOG is. It ain't going to hurt you. No, we got more of it right now because there's more sulfur dioxide being emitted from the volcanoes and the vents. And the more SO2 comes off the volcano, the more VOG. Sulfur dioxide gas reacts with air and nitrogen and stuff and makes VOG, a harmless little crystal that floats in the air, flying fertilizer, little plates of ammonium sulfate. Up in a VOG area, they'll never get asthma. A lot of people say they come here with asthma, breathe some VOG, it disappears. There's evidence that VOG actually helps asthma. So, we've got a whole bunch of misinformation. Some of it's because the health department got trapped in their old lie. VOG won't hurt you. There's no sulfur dioxide gas coming around. And this is all fear porn. Don't believe any of it. No. Nobody has been injured, not at all. But yet there's police running all around keeping you away from these areas and supposedly for your safety. And who's out there? The civil defense people saying we're here 24/7 for your safety. These are the same folks that gave you, this is not a drill. So, these are government people kind of running amok. Nobody's been hurt. Nobody's been poisoned by sulfur dioxide or H2S. Where's the evidence? You should find at least some birds. No, birds haven't even been injured by this. They take birds into mines, and it used to be, before they got little instruments, to detect sulfur and acid gases and stuff in mines that hurt people. Okay, and durable for a long time without appreciable health. Look, about VOG, it's a letter to Bruce Anderson. And here it says, ammonium sulfate dissolves in the body fluid like table salt. The only harm it can cause is when particles don't have enough fluid to cleanly carry it away. If you're driving and the wind contains VOG particles and impacts your eyes, you may not have enough water to carry it all away. What the result is a weak sulfuric acid, and your eyes will get a little red. Same thing at night. If you don't turn over at night, maybe you drank too much. On the top of your throat, you can get a light acid burn on that because not enough fluid to carry all the VOG particles away. And that's the only thing VOG can do. A little eye irritation, a little sore throat, and those are because areas of your body were dry and the ammonium sulfate didn't have enough to dissolve and carry away. So you got a little light solution of sulfuric acid. That's all VOG can do, folks. Sulfur dioxide is similar. No fear. Used to use sulfur dioxide in all refrigerators. It is heavier than air, and when you get into it, it's terrible taste. So you could get in trouble in low pockets. There could be little pockets right around lava flows. But it's not hazardous immediately to your health. So if you get into a little one, you'll taste it, you'll smell it, and you just get out and go to a little higher ground. So I don't imagine even a little rat or a mongoose has been hurt out there yet with this. So sulfur dioxide gas, no fear. VOG, ammonium sulfate particles, no fear. What does that leave? Ash. Well, if your car windshield has ashes on it, go ahead and get yourself a little dust mask. Won't hurt. Okay? We need to learn more about the particle size of ash and composition, but basically, the further you are away from the ash fall, the smaller the particle is. So there's more likely that you should just watch your car windshield or even your glasses. You put your glasses out at night and the next morning see what's on the glass, and you'll know whether or not. Also, whatever you might cough up will tell you if your ashes are a problem for you in that location. Okay, that bit you just saw was from show 1127, which aired July 6th. So if you're not up to educating your friends or repeating too much of this, you can tell them to go to YouTube, and a whole bunch of shows there, and you can scroll and find the show that aired around the 4th of July, that show 1127, and they can watch it themselves. But the main thing is to educate people, to spread the word that VOG won't hurt you, that sulfur dioxide gas isn't going to hurt you. There's too much panic out here, folks, and we're in a panicky month. So help your neighbor, help your family, help the people you know understand that VOG won't hurt them. The classic was the lady they gave all the money to study VOG. After some years, what'd you find out? Oh, it's all confusing, she said. One thing I can tell you, if your kids grow up in a VOG zone, they never get asthma. Wow. The health department themselves, when they first set up to demonize VOG, they had a guy do a study. They said when VOG is on the helo side, more people go into the hospital with impacted lung disease. When the VOG shifts over to Kona, more people go in the hospital with impacted lung disease. Oh boy, the guy said he thought he'd really proven VOG to be evil. Look, folks, impacted lung disease means your lungs are already full of coal dust or asbestos or the brown lung from working in the cotton factories, or there's all kind of reasons your lungs get full of stuff. And when that happens, any little particle will bother you. If there's a high surf and the surf is knocking little particles of salt into the air, these people with impacted lung disease oftentimes have to go into the hospital. So I stood up in the meeting and I said, okay, impacted lung disease, that makes sense. How about asthma? And the man looked a little embarrassed and said, well, we couldn't find any difference in asthma. The headline should have been, Vogue doesn't bother asthma. Instead it was, Vogue is a big bad guy, you know. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to show 130. I want to go over the sky mirror with you and go through it day by day. And when you look at the whole picture, what you find is we're into this eclipse, and it's on Mars. Yeah, we had a 4-degree Aquarius eclipse, and that one at 4 degrees of Aquarius occurred on the 27th of July, and you're sitting on it. And the eclipse is a lunar eclipse. It's a total lunar eclipse. And so the moon gets eclipsed, and it's right up next to Mars. I would think that might mean deaths from the heat wave. This also means a lot of anger. Maybe the EPA lunkhead is going to have to avoid the public also. I think it's amazing that Scott Pruitt was driven out of office by the public. I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's real democracy. Well, how's it look for you day by day? If you're on a Thursday show, the moon's in Capricorn. And late Wednesday night, you went through your panic zone when the moon went by Pluto. Eek, a bug. Panicky, panicky. Is Vogue hurting me? No. Is sulfur dioxide gas hurting me? No. But a policeman, look out. Don't play with sharks. Bugs, animals, people are all going to bite a lot more after that July 13th lunation. But here we are now at the end of July. We got another lunation. This one's setting off Mars. Heat waves, fires. Wow, we get fires all over the U.S. All over. And you know, one of the things we all tend to forget is that there is an eclipse, a full eclipse, and the path went through here. And so to have fires burning and things, you know, and I noticed the latest one runs up through Washington, Seattle, Oregon, Washington, Northern California. We're going to get some fires and stuff there too. Well, Friday morning, there's the moon going by Mars, and the moon's getting eclipsed, which means some people are dying and getting hurt bad, and I'm sure it's not your volcano. No, this is global warming. What has Trump got to say about that? Maybe Trump can be driven out of office by, like, the same way Scott Pruitt was. I don't know. You can only cross your fingers. But this Friday morning is weird because it starts off with the Mars thing right away. I mean, here's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and the moon goes by Mars. And then it's on the media. It squares Uranus just after that. And then opposes the sun. So this is a very tricky, difficult time. Ask yourself what you're protecting. That's what Mars does. Mars isn't just the god of war and heat and fire. No, he's actually the protector. He protects things. He protects the farm and the animals and the garden and the fruit trees. Prunes the trees and chases off the wolves. And he's a good guy. Trouble is, when he doesn't know what to protect or how to do it, he turns into the god of war. You know, like our armies we're paying. We got the biggest armies ever. We got more people in jail than anybody else. We're a prison nation and we're armed to the teeth. We got more guns than anybody else. What's all this about? Bad institutions that haven't been changed. People in privileged positions ripping off the public. 1% of the population owns most of the wealth. What kind of crazy country do we live in anyway? I don't know, but I sure hope this eclipse is going to change some. This is the same eclipse that will hit Trump's rising sign. It ought to be very dangerous for him and dangerous for this part of our country. And it goes on, until April 2020. This eclipse is still in effect. They don't just happen and go away quick. So it lasted 2 years and 8 months altogether to manifest. Yep. So Friday is your heat day, your anger day. And so I've told some people who are having Mars troubles in their charts, just write on the palm of your hand, what are you protecting? Because when you get angry or impatient, you forget. You have to stop and ask yourself, what am I protecting? What am I protecting? What am I protecting? When it gets clear what you're protecting, the anger, the impatience, all of that just goes away. So, if you're having tempers, if you're having angry, aggression, impatience, you got to keep asking yourself the question. And you'll find whenever you get a good answer, wow, the impatience goes away instantly. So does the anger. It's not easy to control Mars, but he can be handled. Start Friday, because you got a whole month after this when Mars is a little difficult. On Saturday, the 28th, the moon's still in Aquarius. Starts with a square to Jupiter in the morning, kind of overdoing it. Too much noise. As you go through till Saturday night, there's a opposition to Mercury. And Mercury, just went retrograde on the 26th. So that was your Thursday. So here's the moon opposing Mercury. And you're not happy with poor old Mercury here. He's just a messenger. He's a messenger. He's your mailman. So why should you be so angry at him? Maybe you're angry at yourself for not getting ahead of it. You can always mail that letter twice, but it's not a good time to send in your income tax, because any letters, anything you take and deliver, carry around, that's what Mercury did. He carried around things and messages. All that kind of work. About half of them have to be done twice. And you're going to feel it Saturday night when the moon opposes Mercury. Moon in Aquarius continues through Sunday till the middle of the day. And then here looks like it shifts into Pisces. And when it does, it mellows out right away. Here's a nice sextile to Uranus. And the technical things work good. There's brotherhood. Common sense tells you, a lot of the answers we're getting about our institutions and countries and politicians and people are bad, scary information. But learning about it is the first stage before you can do something about it. And we got to vote out these Republicans, that's for sure. All they care about is money. Well, you'll know more about that on Sunday. And Sunday afternoon, the moon sextiles Saturn. And there'll be guys on TV analyzing and analyzing and analyzing, wearing suits and ties, commenting on the politicians. Has anybody really said, what's wrong with these institutions yet? No, not really. Well, moon shifts into Pisces, and you're more sensitive. Continues through Monday. Here on Monday we got a trine to Jupiter. Some truth and wisdom comes out after lunch. Late Monday, actually Tuesday morning, the moon's still in Pisces. And there's a nice trine to Pluto, or a sextile to Pluto. Discovery Tuesday morning. Yeah. Tell your friends about the VOG and the SO2. You're not being polluted. Pele is not polluting you. Monsanto is polluting you. Yes. And the plastic industry and the chemical industry. They're polluting you. On Tuesday, the moon opposes Venus. So before lunch, there's trouble with sweets and girls and love and affection. Not going so well, is it? Okay, and Wednesday, August 1st, the moon shifts into Aries. It squares Saturn before lunch. But here's a sextile to Mars. How do you handle all this heat? Well, you can get a wet towel and wet yourself down and stand in front of the fan. Evaporate off your skin will cool your skin. That will help a lot. Evaporation. Wet yourself down, stand in front of the fan. Works good. Of course, you got to keep doing it, huh? Heat is a big problem. It looks like you're handling some of it here Wednesday morning. Doggone politicians. You realize this heat we're coming to is because the Republicans would not act on global warming. Yes, it's been going on for a decade or two. Corporations and politicians in cahoots. That's fascism. That's Hitler's trip. And the people are the losers. And the environment is the loser. How's Trump going to get by this heat wave? How's he going to explain that? Withdrawing from the Paris Accord. Oh, never mind. I'm getting all political. You'll feel better about it Wednesday afternoon when the moon trines the sun. On Thursday, here's a peak of your power, control, bugs, panic. Middle of Thursday, the moon squares Pluto. Yeah, sorry. Here's, well, what happens is we're going to go into the Uranus area. And, you know, there's a nice sextile to with Neptune here, huh? Oh, no, that's Mercury. So you can talk some stuff out Thursday. But Friday, prepare to meet Mars again. Friday, August 3rd, there's a heat wave. And there's electrical power problems. And, you know, always think of Mr. Trump and his withdrawal from the Paris Accords and all of his cohorts that are taking apart your protections. That's what's really happening. On Saturday, everybody's overdoing it. Too much talk. A little investigation in the afternoon and evening. On Sunday, we can't talk it out. On Saturday night, Sunday morning. But on Sunday, we can take real action and do something about this stuff. Tell your friends about the VOG, okay? Aloha.